This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for USVI News. I'm Emily Matson. In just a matter of days, COVID cases have shot up as the Delta variant continues to fuel an increase of COVID cases across the nation and possibly here in the territory, too. Currently, there are 210 active cases throughout the VI. Positive case counts have risen recently since the VI Department of Health confirmed the highly contagious Delta variant has made its way to the territory. There are currently 62 active cases in St. Croix, 146 in St. Thomas, and 2 in St. John, most of those cases among unvaccinated individuals. Now, in comparison, I checked our archives, and just 1 month ago to the day, case counts were at 39, compared to, again, 210 cases right now. So as the COVID surge continues across the territory, Governor Albert Bryan Jr. has ordered all of the territory's public schools prepare for virtual learning for the start of school, which is on August 9th. He's also encouraging private and parochial schools to follow the same course of action. Our USVI News' Ali Born-Vanek has more from the governor and how the Department of Education is preparing.
Emily, the governor's order for the territory schools to switch to virtual learning for the start of school all goes back to what's being reported this week, which is the surge of COVID in the USVI due to the Delta variant. The governor says, quote, "Our children are particularly vulnerable at this point, while this wave of COVID is spreading rapidly among unvaccinated persons here in the territory and across the country. The foundation of my decision-making regarding the COVID pandemic has been and remains the safety of our residents. And while in-person learning is desired, the priority is our public health and safety first and foremost." The governor continued that the decision on when the territory's public schools will go back to in-person learning will greatly depend on the numbers of the surge going down. Also, the Department of Education is in the process of sharing details when it comes to laptop distribution and virtual orientations. In St. Thomas, Ali Born-Vanek, USVI News.
Thank you, Ali, for the information on that developing story here in the Virgin Islands. We'll, of course, keep you posted so you know what's happening with the school district here in the Virgin Islands. VIPD on St. Thomas arrested 4 people during a robbery investigation recently. They're all charged with possession of an unlicensed firearm. They range in age from 18 to 21 years old. The arrest stemmed from a carjacking back on Monday around 12:30 in the morning. The victim came to a stop at a traffic light on Veterans Drive. Someone rear-ended them when they got out to inspect the damage. They told police an armed man threatened the victims. Then that guy and several other suspects stole their vehicle. A couple days later, on routine patrol, officers spotted the stolen Jeep Wrangler in Charlotte Amalie. The suspects fled from officers, but the investigation led police to the vehicle later located in Mahogany Estate. Now, officers checked out the area and saw 3 males leaving in another vehicle. They stopped that car and discovered a firearm with an extended magazine. Investigators retrieved the stolen vehicle. These 4 suspects are charged with several weapons violations. No word, though, if they're going to be charged in connection to the robbery, the carjacking there. They were sent to prison with their bond set at $50,000 each. Governor Bryan's nominee for the territory's new commissioner of the VI Police Department is sharing his perspective and his plans on addressing crime in the territory. Ray Martinez is from St. Croix and has spent much of his law enforcement career overseeing intelligence operations and managing the VIPD's intelligence unit. Additionally, Martinez has worked as a facilitator between the VIPD and federal law enforcement partners.
What I have done is we're going to introduce also a strategy called intel-driven policing, with portions of community-based policing or community-oriented policing, and also some hotspots policing, which specifically is geared towards where we've got our folks, where the bad guys, the trigger pullers, are located, and that's putting our resources in those areas. The second priority that we're going to be dealing with is, from an internal perspective, is to ensure that I am firm but fair with my decisions. This is the way that we're going to build our morale back up. It is no secret that we've got some issues with police morale. And with those issues comes the fact that it oftentimes transcends into how some of our officers police. And so that's going to be a really big thing as well.
Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett announces millions of dollars in federal FEMA grants for 2 Virgin Islands government agencies. Plaskett said, "I am very pleased to announce that FEMA is releasing the following funds to various local government agencies. $10 million for WAPA for state management costs to include both direct and indirect administrative expenses, as well as $1 million for the Virgin Islands Housing Authority to help pay for permanent repairs to the H.H. Berg's Homes, Community Center and basketball courts on St. Thomas, which is needed as a direct result from Hurricane Maria." She went on to say, "As we all know, both Irma and Maria caused significant damage to the Virgin Islands and severely exacerbated the already deteriorating conditions within our infrastructure. These funds are to help restore our facilities and infrastructure back to pre-disaster design, function, and capacity. I am hopeful," she said, "that these grants will be utilized to help further the rebuilding and hardening of the infrastructure in our territory." The federal financial relief programs aimed at minimizing the economic impact caused by the COVID-19 pandemic are now starting to expire. And 16 months after those measures were created, lawmakers are not focused on extending them yet again. Our USVI News' Hunter Vaughn has a closer look at what it means for renters and homeowners who have fallen behind on their monthly payments.
Several historic COVID-19 relief programs will soon be history. The protections Congress put into place to help millions of people out of work start to expire this week.
How are you going to pay your electricity, cell phone, food? It's hard.
Back in March 2020, lawmakers rushed to create those financial and housing protections to cushion the financial blow brought on by COVID-19. Now, some of those safety nets are going away. The federal eviction ban issued by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is set to expire at the end of July, meaning millions could lose the roof over their head.
Being strapped financially, dealing with COVID, dealing with not knowing where you're going to live, and then also dealing with the possibility of losing your property, it's terrifying.
Homeowner Tina Brown says paying for her mortgage has been a struggle. After losing her job during the pandemic, she moved into the basement of her rental property, right beneath her non-paying tenant.
The eviction moratorium, while flawed, has kept tens of millions of renters who otherwise would have lost their homes during the pandemic stably housed.
The nonprofit National Low-Income Housing Coalition is calling for an extension, even though the deadline has been extended 3 times. But the CDC and the White House have said it will not be extended again. Also expiring at the end of this month, the federal ban on foreclosures, which protects homeowners with government-backed loans. Hunter Vaughn, USVI News.
So despite all this, $46 billion in federal rent relief money approved by Congress in its last 2 rescue packages will continue to be distributed to states, cities, and territories.